If you want to get shredded six-pack abs, you're going to want to listen up, because in today's video, I'm going to show you exactly what the best workout for your abs is. I'm Coach Jackson, former men's health fitness model turned coach, cupcake connoisseur, and owner of Action Jackson Fitness, where I help regular men and women go from no pack to six pack in record time. Now, I've been known for my ability to help people do this incredibly fast. It's why people have called me the ab whisperer, but most people make it way harder on themselves than it really needs to be. So today, I'm gonna open your eyes and help you get there faster than ever. Now, people get caught up in a couple of different problems. The first problem is believing myths like abs are made in the kitchen, or that all you need to do is compound lifts and you'll get a six-pack. Neither of those things is true. You can't simply diet your way to shredded six-pack abs, because you need to actually build the muscles, just like you can't diet your way to bulging biceps. And when it comes to doing compound lifts, those are great for the backside of your body, your posterior core, but they're not great for your anterior core or the front side of your body, where you actually can see your abs. And last time I checked, nobody walks down the beach backwards. The other problem is that most people treat their abs like a second-class citizen. They get worked last, they get very little time, very little focused energy and effort, and it's always super sloppy reps like drunk sex. You need to start treating your abs like the king or queen that they are if you want them to respond properly. You're gonna have to give them dedicated time and attention. You're gonna have to spend some quality time with them. And like Usher says, you're gonna have to take it nice and slow. So before we even get to the video, I wanna give you 3 quick tips in order to help you get that shredded six-pack abs that you always wanted. The first is to prioritize your abs. And you're gonna do this by doing abs first before you even get to your workout, maybe as like a warm-up, or what you can do is also train your abs on a regularly scheduled off day, maybe a cardio day, or even cut your workout down by an additional 10 minutes in order to make sure that you give your abs the time, the tension, and more importantly, the energy that they need in order to help respond. Now, the second thing that you can do is make sure you give your abs that quality time. And like I said in the first thing, by prioritizing them, by giving them the quality time that they need, they're gonna respond. I recommend 45 to 50 minutes per week, and you could break that into several training sessions. Ideally, you wanna work train your abs more consistently throughout the week than simply giving them one really long session. And the last thing that you need to do is to create a quality mind-muscle connection with your abs. Now, I can't tell you how important this is, right? Arnold Schwarzenegger always talked about how the mind was more important than the body in creating that connection, but I found this to be true in my own training and also working with over 1,000 clients. So you're gonna create that mind-muscle connection by really focusing, thinking about, and learning how to activate your abdominals. Now, I'm gonna talk you through and walk you through some of that today, but I also have another video called How to Shred Your Abs by Fixing These 3 Mistakes. I'm gonna put a card up here in the video so you can go check that video out, or you can watch it after I finish this video. The next thing you need to do to help you get a six-pack faster than ever is to smash that like button right now. It's gonna help with the algorithm. It's really gonna help promote this video and this kind of content, because my goal is just to help people like you get six-pack abs faster than ever. So please, I appreciate it if you smash that like button, and also if you subscribe if you like this kind of content. Now, before we jump right into the exercises, I want to give you a little bit of context and foundation so you understand how I came up with this workout and why it's so effective. It really stems back to my 4-phased approach for abdominal training. Now, I walk you through this in my book, 7 Secrets for Chiseled Abs, which is available on Amazon Kindle. But in that book, what I do is I detail out exactly the 4-phased approach. It starts with what's called abdominal foundation. This is where you're gonna build that foundation, the core strength, the stabilization necessary so that you can do other exercises later on, and you're still gonna have protection of your spine, and you're still gonna have a nice strong core that's gonna be able to stabilize your body and really make sure you're protecting your back. A lot of abdominal exercises require spinal flexion and extension, and that can put some strain on the back. So you need to make sure your core is strong enough to be able to withstand that later on. The second phase is gonna be abdominal activation. This is where you're gonna learn that mind-muscle connection. You're gonna learn how to activate your abdominals properly and really feel what it feels like to engage with your abdominals. Most people simply don't know this, and it really comes down to Nobody was ever taught how to do this. So you need to really learn it and focus on it. And when you think about it, your mind can control your body and then it responds properly. You're gonna get much better results. Now, the third phase is gonna be what I call abdominal advance. This is where you're gonna build on the first two phases and you're really gonna bring in some nice light resistance now. These are things like medicine balls or maybe really light dumbbells or even sometimes very light cables. But what you're doing is adding just a little bit of resistance, taking it up just a notch, increasing the intensity just a bit, and building upon the abdominal foundation, the abdominal activation phases, and taking that activation, adding a little bit of resistance, and that's gonna help build the abdominals up even more. And that's gonna lead you right into the last phase, which is what I call abdominal amplify, where you're gonna really amplify the cuts, the deep cuts necessary to visually see the six-pack abs so that when you're taking a photo, whether you're on the beach or you're walking around in the swimsuit, that's when everyone can see the abs and the cuts and go, whoa, look at that, that's amazing. That's gonna be that head-turning pop that you're gonna get when you're walking down the beach with the six-pack firing. It's gonna come from that abdominal amplify phase. So as you can see, each phase builds upon the last, and there's a very strategic order in order up operations there, because that way you're gonna go from building the strong core to learning the activation to building a little bit of resistance to now a lot of resistance, and that's gonna be the progression that you wanna have in order to go from no pack to six pack in record time. Now remember, less than 1% of the population has visible six pack abs, right? So what you're trying to accomplish is like climbing the top of Mount Everest. It's not an easy feat. It's very, very difficult. In fact, the odds of you becoming a millionaire are much higher than they are of you getting six-pack abs. That's the kind of thing we're talking about doing here. So if it's that difficult, you have to understand why I'm so intentional, so strategic about the way we go about doing these things. Now, in this workout, you've got 5 exercises covering the entire gamut. You're going to go through this circuit 3 times. You're going to take as little rest as necessary between exercises, and I want you to take about 30 seconds between rounds. Now, as you go through this, the first exercise is going to be the forward plank. Now, what this is going to do is it's going to be that abdominal foundation exercise that you need to build the core strength and stability. It's also going to help build the glutes and other areas of the core that you don't really think of when it comes to a visual six-pack. The second exercise is going to be the floor crunch. This is an abdominal activation exercise. So you learn how to get that mind-muscle connection, what it feels like to hit those upper abs and really isolate those. Then we're gonna move to a reverse crunch, abdominal activation for the lower abs, so you can learn how to do that. Then we're gonna move to a Russian twist, hitting those obliques with some nice light resistance, more of an abdominal advance exercise. And then finally, we're gonna finish with an abdominal amplify exercise to help build the deep cuts of those upper abs with a kneeling cable crunch. The first exercise is going to be the forward plank. This is that abdominal foundation exercise. Now, a lot of people screw up this exercise because they don't activate their glutes, which are part of your core and really necessary for helping to protect your lower back. The other thing they do is they collapse their shoulder blades. So those are the 2 biggest mistakes that people make, and I'll show you what that looks like. So they get into this exercise here. They have their hips dipped and dove down towards the floor. You're not trying to hump the floor in this exercise. No, here what we're trying to do is we're trying to really work and engage our core. And what that means is that you have to tuck your pelvis underneath your body and you have to squeeze your glutes. This is what that looks like. So my hips are up. I create a nice straight line with my body. I tuck my pelvis underneath, as you can see. So I'm pulling that pelvis underneath. I'm squeezing and activating my glutes. I'm pulling them super tight, super tight. So you want to really lock those in. Tucking your pelvis underneath your body is kind of like a dog trying to tuck its tail between its legs. So you want to do the exact same thing. So as you can see here, what I'm doing is my pelvis is tucked in and I'm squeezing my glutes. Boom. I got a nice straight line with my body. And it might look like my butt's a little bit high, but that's okay because it's tucked in and it's tight. The next thing is collapsing the shoulder blades. As you can see here, even when I'm in this position, if my shoulder blades are collapsed down, that is a weak position for my body. It's a weak position for my shoulders. I want to press that floor away, and I want to pull my shoulder blades apart. So press the floor away and pull your shoulder blades apart. That's going to lock in the shoulders, and then hold everything nice and tight by flexing your abs like I'm going to jump through the screen and punch in the stomach, and then finally pull that navel in towards the spine. This is what it looks like. So I'm up, squeeze glutes, tuck pelvis, pull that in, press that floor away, lock in the form. And this is a super, super tight, what I call a very active plank. So what most people do is a very passive plank where their body's not tight, they're not really moving. Here, everything's active. I'm feeling like I'm trying to pull my elbows towards my feet, and I'm gonna just collapse the floor. That is a very active plank, and that's what you wanna do if you really wanna build that abdominal foundation. Next exercise is the abdominal floor crunch. This is great for the upper abs. It's what I call an abdominal activation exercise. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna lay on the floor, you're gonna pull your feet in towards your butt, you're gonna lay down nice and easy. You can cross your arms across your chest, or what I like to do is I like to actually touch my upper abs. The reason is that when you touch a muscle group, it's gonna help create that mind-muscle connection. You'll feel the muscle, and then you could feel it when it's activating. Now, I like to break this move into a couple of steps. The first step is gonna be chin towards the ceiling. So I'm gonna pull my chin up towards the ceiling. That immediately, I feel the activation coming in my upper abs. The next thing you do is you pull your shoulder blades off the floor as you round your back. This is one of the few times that it's okay to round your back. Actually, it's necessary. So I'm gonna round my back as I pull my shoulder blades off the floor. I could feel those upper abs activating even further. And then what I wanna do is I wanna exhale as much air as I possibly can as I pull my navel in towards my spine or towards the floor. That's gonna complete that crunch. And you wanna move very, very slow and controlled in this. Remember what I said, Usher says, take this nice and slow. You wanna take it nice and slow. You wanna really kind of create that mind-muscle connection, that relationship with your abs, and you wanna just spend some quality time with them. There's no rush. We're not trying to get through this just as fast as possible. We're not trying to do 1,000 crunches because that's another myth. We're trying to do a small set of 10 to 15 controlled movements with very, very good intention, purpose, and time under tension. So move nice and slow and controlled. I like to think of a couple seconds here. So I'll show you what this looks like. Chin to the ceiling, shoulder blades off the floor, exhale, pull that navel in, squeeze, and repeat. So in terms of rep tempos, you want to think of this as maybe 2 or 3 seconds up, a 2-second pause or squeeze, and then 2 or 3 seconds on the back end. So it's 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, squeeze, 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000 on the way back, and repeat. That's going to be the nice slow and controlled rep tempo that you want. And then as always, make sure you're exhaling as much air as possible to really fully contract those abs as much as you can. Feel the activation, not only with your hand, but also telling your mind to activate those upper abs, and then just continue that progression. And it's gonna be painful. It's gonna be good pain though, because you're finally gonna be really activating the muscle that you wanna hit and the muscle that you wanna develop, which is those upper abs. Next up is gonna be the lower abs. This is an abdominal activation for the lower abs. It's the reverse crunch. So the lower abs are gonna be just below the belly button, right above your waistband. So I'm touching those. I feel that mind-muscle connection. This is the part of the abs that really takes you from good to great, because most people can develop the upper abs. Most people don't have those lower abs developed. So if you really want a fantastic, amazing, awesome, next level six-pack, this is the work that you got to do. So now in order to do this exercise, what I'm going to do from a setup position is I'm going to tap those lower abs. I'm going to feel them. I'm going to lift my knees into my chest here just one at a time, and then you can start to feel that abdominal activation. You can start to feel those muscles move. Now to get in position, I'm going to activate my lower abs by pressing my back into the floor. That's going to activate the core here. I'm going to bring my legs up to a tabletop, 90 degrees here, just like that. I'm going to extend my legs out just a bit. Now I'm going to pull my knees into my chest. And as I do that, I'm going to roll my pelvis over, as you can see, feeling all that pull, and then extend back out and then repeat. So for this exercise, I'm not going to be touching my lower abs the whole time because I need my hands to stabilize on the floor. So hands are going to sit on the floor here. Just touch the abs to get that mind-muscle connection. Then hands go to the floor, legs extend out. I don't want you to pull your feet from the floor and then kind of repeat this motion here, because what that is a bit sloppy and it starts to pull in the hip flexors, which we're trying to avoid. So legs up here just like this, hands on side of the floor. I'm going to push that lower back into the floor, and then I'm going to pull my knees into my chest. This is what it looks like. And I'm also going to keep my chin up and my head slightly up because that's going to keep the activation on my upper abs at the same time. So I'm getting a little bit of upper and lower activation all at the same time. And of course, don't forget to exhale as much air as you possibly can as you pull your knees into your chest, as you really squeeze those lower abs and feel the contraction. That's going to give you that extra emphasis, that little bonus you need if you want to be a star student in Coach Jackson's six-pack success school. Next up is going to be the Russian twist, which is what I call an abdominal advance exercise for the obliques. So this is going to be the frame of the abs, the muscles that really frame things up to give you that really eye-popping, head-turning sort of look that looks just a lot better than simply a six-pack. Because you want the abs, yes, you want those, but you also need that frame to boom, to really make it all come together. So I have a kettlebell here. This is a 26-pounder, so this is probably a little heavier than most of you would want to go. I would start with something a little bit simpler, lighter, maybe anything from 6 to maybe 12, 15 pounds at most to start. And then as you build up, you can move to a heavier bell or a heavier medicine ball or a heavier kettlebell. I'm going to get in a position here. You want feet off the floor. You want your chest up, your head tall here. So I could feel activation on my abs just from this, but I could also feel a lot of activation in my hip flexors. So you want to try and limit hip flexor involvement as much as possible by using the twist and kind of trying to actually activate back here, activating the glutes and the hamstrings. By activating the glutes and the hamstrings a bit, that's going to help turn off the hip flexor a bit. So we got the bell. I'm in the position here. You want to move, again, slow and controlled when you're doing this, because slow and controlled is always going to trump doing fast, sloppy reps. You've been doing fast, sloppy reps for a long time. That's probably why you're watching this video. So you want to try the opposite now. Do something that most people don't do, which is time under tension, move slow and controlled. So grab that bell, get in a position, lift those feet off the ground, feel that activation in here. I'm trying to activate my hamstrings and my glutes just a little bit to try to turn those hip flexors off. And then I'm going to rotate this bell going across my body, nice and slow. And notice, I'm not swinging around like you see a lot of people do when they do this exercise. I'm not swinging, I'm not moving very fast. My legs aren't buckling back and forth where I'm trying to keep my balance. I'm locking everything in. That's keeping the nice, solid, tight core. It's keeping the emphasis on the abs. And then I'm rotating across, which is getting all that oblique development. And I'm also reaching my arms and trying to get them kind of far away from my body. The further your arms are away from your body, the more leverage the weight's going to have against your abs and against the obliques, and the more work you're going to get. Next up is the kneeling cable crunch. This is that abdominal amplify exercise that's going to build those deep cuts on those upper abs here that you need to get that visual six-pack. So this is going to be the hardest, most advanced exercise of this entire circuit. So this is the one that you really need to focus on and make sure you're locking in your form properly, because I see this exercise done incorrectly all the time. Now, two big mistakes that most people make on this exercise are, the first mistake is going to be dropping your hips towards your butt. This is what that looks like. So you're in position, you got your rope here, and what most people tend to do on this exercise, they get in a position and they just drop their butt and their hips towards their ankles. They kind of do this motion here. That doesn't really do a lot. So what you're doing is you're using all of your weight and you're just dropping that down, and you're using your weight to move the rope, or to move that stack or the resistance that you have. And you're not actually contracting or extending, you're not shortening or extending the muscles of your abdominals. So you're not getting any contraction on the abs. So it's not really doing anything. The other mistake people make all the time is they get in a position here and they just drop their chest towards the floor. So they don't move their hips as much, but they're just dropping their chest towards the floor. So as you can see here again, I'm dropping my chest towards the floor. That's not actually lengthening and shortening the muscles of my abdominals. The goal, what you're trying to accomplish, is you're trying to lengthen and shorten that muscle, right? Lengthen, shorten, lengthen, shorten. So if you think about your abs here, and you just literally logically think through this for 1 second, all you have to do is think, okay, logically lengthen, shorten, lengthen, shorten. So you need to actually round your back in order to shorten them and to contract, and then you need to extend in order to lengthen that muscle. So it's gonna be a shortened lengthening that you wanna do, and it requires you to round your back in order to actually do that. So get in a position, grab your rope here, you're gonna get down. I like to go butt to the ankles and just lock that position in. Now from here, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to pull my chin down towards my navel. I'm gonna round my back. I'm gonna exhale as much air as I possibly can. And that's gonna be what you wanna do. Then you wanna pause and squeeze at the very back end of that to try to just exhale as much air as you possibly can and really get that full contraction. That pause squeeze at the back end there is gonna be that little bonus you need to get the star if you wanna be a star student in Coach Jackson's Six-Pack Success School. So this is what it looks like. I'm in position, I'm locked in, round, exhale, squeeze, pause, extend, lengthen those abs. And that's gonna be the kneeling cable crunch. So I want you to cycle through those 5 exercises 3 times. You're gonna take as little rest as necessary between sets. You're gonna take about 30 seconds between rounds. For the forward plank, I want you to do a full 30 seconds if you can. That's an active 30 seconds. So you're pulling, you're squeezing, you're tightening the entire time. For the floor crunch, I want you to do 10 reps. Same for the reverse crunch, 10 reps there. Then for the Russian twist, you're gonna do 24 or 12 each side, and then 15 on the kneeling cable crunch. Now, if you can't hit any of those numbers, if it's too much, then I want you to work towards failure. Failure is gonna be when you can't complete any more reps with perfect form. Move slow and controlled on all of them. We're not trying to just complete reps to complete reps. We want quality over quantity. That's gonna help you develop those 6-pack abs that you really wanna get. If this is hard for you, don't worry, don't stress, don't freak out, and certainly don't quit. I want you to persist. Think progress, not perfection. If you can just get a little bit better at this, even 1 rep each week, that's gonna be huge, and that progress is gonna over time build compounding results. Those compounding results are gonna help you get that 6-pack. So again, stick with it, keep working hard, and I promise if you put in enough time and consistency, you're going to get there. I hope you got a ton of value from today's video, and if you did, I want you to smash that like button and please subscribe if you like these kinds of videos and you want more awesome content just like this on a regular basis. I'm Coach Jackson, and remember, action is the difference between dreaming and 6-pack abs.